Good morning and welcome to another beginning keyboard class. So today we're going to begin by warming up. Okay, this is the way, from the beginning of the book you've got the exercises that you can massage and you can use warm water or whatever, but in terms of actually being on the keyboard, using the C major scale, I like to warm up like this, or and then and then the right hand. Okay. So, however you warm up, it's important to warm up. And a lot of times I warm up with, go back into the book, as far back as you want to go, depending on how much warming up you need to do. And also just to keep those pieces that you've already learned, keep them fresh so that you can play them smoothly and increase your ability to actually make music with it. And so we're going to begin today because we're dealing with the G major. And so we're going to just go back a couple of pages to begin with. We're looking at the G major scale on page 114. And looking at your G with your thumb, number one finger, right? So it's G, A, B, C, D, E, and then your F is with your fourth finger, which is a sharp, F sharp. And then if you look, so we're at the bottom of page 114, you've got, so this is middle C here, so you've got your G down here. So, and then in terms of contrary motion, because you're doing your F sharp with your second finger of your left hand, but the fourth finger in your right hand, when you're dealing with contrary motion, okay, G. I'm pretty sure we did that last time, but just as we get ready to play this new piece here, Why Am I Blue on page 116, we're dealing with syncopated notes, which if you've got a downbeat, your syncopated note is not on the downbeat. So if you've got a 1 and 2 and 3 and It's not on the downbeat. Okay, so you'll see as we go into this. But to begin with, before we get into the reading and the counting and everything, I just want to play it so you know kind of what it's going to sound like, and then we'll go from there. Now, if you look at the bottom of the page, you'll see that there is 2 different endings, and so, which obviously means we're going to play it twice. So first we end up here, and then the second time we end up here. So moderately slow, okay? And as you can see, this is in G, and so we have an F sharp. But along the way, you're going to see there's going to be some B flats in there, and there's going to be some differences. But for the most part, it's in the key of G major, and there will be an F sharp naturally, but if you look at the third measure, at the end of the second measure, you've got an F sharp because of it's in the key signature, but in the very next note is F natural. So they've taken the sharp out of it. So there are things like that we're going to look at here momentarily. But first, I just want to play this. So moderately slow. So that's basically what it's going to sound like. So what I want to do now is I'm going to bring this down, and we're going to do a little reading, and I've got a pencil here, a mechanical pencil, so that you can actually see what I'm doing, where I'm going. I neglected to do that. You know, here again, videotaping a lesson and not getting any feedback, you'd think I would have realized before, but I didn't. So here we are, though. So the way I do it is I go up and over, and then in this case over and then down, and then up and down. And if you can read going up and down, then your reading improves, because it doesn't matter whether you're going this way or that way. And so the better that you can read going both ways, the easier it'll be to read new music. So we've got a G, B, D, B, D, B, D, B, G, 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 D, B, G, G, B, D, G, B, D, B, excuse me, you get those mixed up, right? D, B, G, G, F. Now that's an F sharp because the sharp is in the key signature, but the very next note is an F natural. D, B, G, G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D. Down to the next line, G, B, D, D, B, A, G, D, B, A, G. Now we go to B flat, E, C, G, D, B flat, because it's still within that measure, right? So B flat, E, C, G, 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 E, C, G, G, E, C, G, C, E, G, C, E, G, C, E, B flat, D, B flat, E, C, G, G, B, E, C, G, G, C, E, A, G, G, B, D, B natural, because you had your B flats over here, so they want to make sure that you're not continuing, so you got a B natural, D, B, G, G, B, D, D, B, G, G, B, D, D, B, A, G, D, B, A, G. Now we've got an F sharp, C, D, C, B, C, D, C, F sharp, D, C, or excuse me, B, C, D, C, F sharp, D, 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 C, F sharp, G, C, E, B flat, D, B flat, E, C, G, G, B flat again, still, E, C, G, A, E, C, G, G, B, D, G, D, B, G, G, B, D, D, B, G, F sharp, C, D, 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 C, C, B, B, A, A. And then you go through the whole thing, and then the last is G, B, D. You've got an F sharp and a D sharp, and then G, E, G, B, D, G, E. Okay? So that's your reading, and that's something that you want to do every day if you really want to improve. So now the other thing, excuse me, is the counting. When we look at the bass, starting at the very first measure, it's just, and we're going to, because we're dealing with eighth notes, a lot of eighth notes here, we're going to do a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's in your bass. So the bass in the first three measures is just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the way. And then in this third measure over here, you've got just the 1 and then you have the 3 beats of rest, okay? Excuse me. And then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and continues all the way through until you get to the first ending where you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and rest, okay? And then the final one is 1 and rest and 3 and 4 and. So the bass is reasonably simple, but when you get to the treble clef, now we're dealing with eighth notes, and as you can see, your syncopated note over here is going to be like this one here, and you hear it in the sound because it's not on the downbeat. You got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Next measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the next line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so you're holding that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 first finish 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then finally your rest is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So playing then, you're starting with your bass clef, you've just got your that's not what I want. Okay. So G, B, D, right? That's your G chord. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it's so easy to rush it, but it says moderately slow. So second measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now you're holding your sustain pedal on this third measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So you're holding it while you hit that 1 and then you'll go to G, C, E, right? Which is your Roman numeral 4 or which is C, E, G, really, it's your C chord, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the G, and then you're on your sustain pedal again. And then you're resting. Then, so you're 5, 7, oh, excuse me, that is, that's C, D, F sharp. I didn't get the sharp in there. Back to C, back to G. Okay. So the bass is reasonably simple because there's only the 3 chords. Now, when we go to the treble clef, so we've got our 3rd finger on B, and then our 5th finger on D, and then back, 3rd finger on B, and then G, 1. So 3, 5, 1. So it's as we were counting before, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now there's your G, F sharp, and then when you go to the F natural, you're hitting the sustain pedal at the same time that you're hitting those G chords, okay? Then, in the second line, we've got, so you've got D, B, A, G, so 5, 3, 2, 1. 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay? So D, B, A, G, D, B, A, G, and then B flat, D, B flat, G, right? So B flat, D, so that's 3, 5, 3, 1, but in the second line is no B flat. But down here in the second line, in the third measure, it's B flat, holding. Okay, so it's, okay, second measure. Oh, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay, so third measure. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then your B now becomes a B natural. So, and you're on the sustain pedal, and then you've got your D, B, A, G, D, B, A, G. So that's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then C, B, C, B, C, D. Okay, so that is, so you've got your C with your fourth finger, so 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, or excuse me, 5. Okay, your little finger here, 5. So 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and you're holding that. So it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? Now it's back to a B flat. Okay, so B flat, D, B flat, G, B flat, A, okay? So hear that, there's your syncopated offbeat, let's call it. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So then the first one is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or D, C, B, natural, A, and then a quarter rest, so 1 and, then you've got your F sharp and D sharp, and then your G, E. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? So, so now playing together, excuse me. Okay, so we're going to do it slowly, but so in your third measure is where you hit not only your F natural, after you've hit your F sharp, you're also hitting the sustain pedal at the same time. So. Okay, so back here I made a little mistake, but you don't worry about it, you just continue playing. So we all make mistakes, it's no big deal. Okay, so that's basically that one, and now I want to go on to this G blues scale performance piece. This is about call and response, special technique used in jazz rock to create more excitement. And so what we're going to do, though, to begin with is, again, we're going to do a little reading here so that we know, so we get into the habit of, okay, let me turn that off so that it doesn't, okay, so we're starting with G, and we've got G up here. So you're starting with G with the left hand and G with the right hand. So G, G. Now, I'm going to show you when I do it, but fingering is a little tricky in the sense that you're going to be moving from, so this is G here, G here. This is F, normally an F sharp, but they've made it a natural already. So G, F natural, D, and then D flat, C, B, B flat, no flat here, because if there's going to be a flat in the treble clef and in the bass clef, they each have to have it, okay? So this is a B natural, this is a B flat, G, B flat, C, G, C sharp, D, D, G, G, F natural, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, G, B flat, C, C, C sharp, D, D, G, G, F natural, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, G, B flat, C, G, 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 C sharp, A. Now we're at a B natural, D, B natural, D, A, G, A, and then G, C, E, G, G, B, D, G. Now down to the next line, G, B, D, G, C, E, G, B, D, G, D flat, D natural, C, B flat, G, G, B, D, G, C, E, G, B, D, G, B flat, G, B flat, C, G, B, D, G, C, E, G, B, D, G, D flat, D natural, C, B flat, G, A, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, E, C sharp, D, 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 C, B, A, and then you go back to the beginning. Okay, so then, having done that, we'll start with the bass clef. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, because 4/4 time, just like the one we did, this is 4/4 time. Second measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, falling asleep here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now the next one, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now down in the third line where we're at the call and response, these next two lines, excuse me, you have the call of the first measure, and then the response in the following measure, and then the call and the response. So back to the bass. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and rest and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and rest for 3 beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the final measure 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, now on the treble clef, okay, 4/4 time, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and rest and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and rest for 3 beats. Then the next line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the next line, the first measure, nothing in the treble clef, and then you've got an 8th rest, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and nothing in the next measure, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and nothing in the next line in the first measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So you see on this one, next to the last measure, you've got a dotted quarter note. So that's 1 and 2, and then the next quarter note or 8th note is 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4 and, okay, because you got a dotted quarter note at the end. You got a dotted quarter note at the beginning, so that's a little tricky there. So, okay, so then let me play this, and then we'll see, let's see. So I'm up here at G, okay. And I'm down here at G. Okay. Okay. Okay, what am I doing here? So this is what I'm talking about. So maybe at this point I will go ahead and show you the challenges here. For example, well, in the bass it's so in the bass you've got your G, your B with your 4th finger, and then C, C sharp, and then your G. You're stretching your 4th finger over to B, 3rd finger for the C, so C, C, C sharp, D, okay. Okay, so that's part of the challenge there, is you're going from 5 on the G, 4 on the B, 3 on the C, 2 on the C sharp, and then, okay. Okay, and so in the second line it's just G, B, C, C sharp, and then, okay. But up here, you've got G, F natural with the 5, 4, 3 is in the D, 2 is in the D flat, and then 1 is the C, 2 is the B flat, G, so you're going from G, B flat to G with your 1, and then back to B flat and G. So it's see how tricky that is? Look at my fingers here. So that's what we're talking about. So, so G, G. I'm going to come here. Gotta turn this thing off. This thing's starting to freak out here. So let's go back to, let's see. So. So now down to the third line, the call. So again, I want to go back to the treble clef, which is mostly the challenge here. So it's G, F with the 5/4. 3 is the D, 2 is the D flat, C is the 1 finger, and then 2 to the B flat, and then the G with the 1, right? See that stretch? So, and then the third line, so it's G, D flat with your fourth finger, and then D natural with your fifth finger, and then 3 on the C, 2 on the B flat, and then the G. So that last measure. So 1, 3, 1, 3, 4 fingering. So G, B flat, G, B flat, C. And then the last line, second measure, is G, D flat, D natural, C, B flat, G. C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, C sharp, D. Right? So, and then your bass from the second measure, you've got C, and then C sharp, so it's your fifth finger on G, your fourth finger on B. As you can see on the music there, they've got 5, 4 as far as your fingering, C, C sharp with their second finger, and then D. Okay, so G, B, G, B, C, C sharp, D, D. Second line. And then, okay. So basically it's the same all the way through, except the very last, you've got your 1 on the D, 2 on C, B, A, and that sets you up with your 5 finger back on G. Okay, so response. Okay, so basically that's a tricky one, and so that's going to take some practice. So next week, as we continue, we're going to be going to the F major scale, and If we just take a look at page 118 for a moment, if you've got F, looking at, so you've got what is a major scale? It's two tetrachords joined by a whole step, and the tetrachords are in consecutive alphabetical order. You've got whole step, half step, so whole step, half step is B flat, right? So F to G, G to A, or two whole steps, and then a half step, and then the whole step joined, right? Two tetrachords joined by a whole step, so B flat C, C D, D E, and then a half step, F. So there's your new major chord, and scale is your F major scale. And with the right hand, if you look there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 with the B flat, and then your 1 on C, you got to slide way under to there, and then back to your fourth finger. So very, very different there. Whereas here, you're hitting the B flat with your second finger. So anyway, we will leave that until next time. So thank you for joining me, and happy playing.